Good morning. Anything but ordinary. Here we're on our fifth and final week of our message series for this Easter season. Today we're going to look at the most important and most difficult of all habits to have an extraordinary life. It's especially difficult in our culture to slow down. The passage we're looking at takes place on the night before Jesus dies. This is part of Jesus' final words and final instructions that he gives to the apostles. Here Jesus is trying to explain the relationship between him and us. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine grower. By vine, Jesus means a grapevine in the Middle East. The grapevines were very thick, more like the thickness of a tree. They're not easily cut. Jesus calls himself the vine, or the tree that gives life, and his Father is in charge of pruning the branches that don't bear fruit. If you're living in a relationship with Jesus, this means that we're going to have some rough times in our lives. We're going to have conflict. It isn't always easy. Jesus is encouraging this. Don't think that God is against you or mad at you, but that he's pruning you. He's cutting back the bad things in your life, and at times even the good things, so that we will bear more fruit. He's pruning us so that we can be the best possible version of ourselves. Rather than running away from God when it feels like you're being pruned, that should be the time to lean into God and to ask him, what are you trying to accomplish here? Jesus says, remain in me and as I remain in you. If you want to live an extraordinary life through the power of Jesus, what do we have to do? The answer is simple: to remain in Jesus. Jesus says, just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me and I in him will bear much fruit, because without me, you can do nothing. Jesus tells us that if we cut ourselves off from him, we won't be able to produce any fruit. The fruit he means is that we'll grow personally in our character. We'll grow in patience. We'll grow in kindness, in goodness, in self-control, and an ability to love others. We'll bear fruit in that our efforts, our fruit, will be the lives changed for the better for ourselves and for others. We'll be building up other people. I think we can all agree that without Jesus, we can do nothing of eternal, lasting value. Nothing. Whatever we do with Jesus, connected to Jesus, because we have remained with him and abided in him, can last forever. We can do things that are extraordinary, that last for generations. And on this side of eternity, we might not know how impacting our actions have been or can be. And in case we all need to be motivated in a different way, nothing works better than that image of the unquenchable fire. Jesus reminds the fruitless branches, anyone who does not remain in me will be thrown out like a branch and wither. People will gather them and throw them into the fire, and they will be burned. Ouch. Seems like it's a little harsh of Jesus here saying this. But Jesus isn't trying to threaten us. He's just stating a reality. That just like a branch that is cut off from a tree, when we're cut off from Jesus Christ, our hearts and souls are cut off from the life-giving sustenance that only Jesus can give us. Without Jesus, we shrivel up. Jesus isn't threatening us. He's stating a fact. And we can all see that from our own lives. I'm sure that there's been times in our life when we stop making prayer a priority. When we get into the rhythm of ignoring prayer, forgetting to read the scriptures, not coming to Mass, ignoring God, and they're forgetting about him for a period of time. And that when we do that, eventually we can wake up and realize that we're shriveling, that we've cut ourselves off from the vine. The gospel reading ends on a much brighter note, though. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask for whatever you want, and it will be done for you. By this, my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit and become my disciples. Not necessarily referring to a winning lottery ticket, but that as we remain with Jesus and connected to Jesus, our lives will align with God. We'll have dreams and goals and desires that align with God's desires. That's the winning lottery ticket in itself. Having said that, God is not offended by big dreams or big prayers. And when we remain in Jesus, we learn to pray big prayers, extraordinary prayers that only God could answer. We'll do great things for God, not on our own power, but on his, because his life is running through us. Those great things will be produced naturally, just as grapes naturally appear on a healthy vine, because the branch is connected. So we too will bear much fruit. So what does it mean to remain in him? And how do we do it? How do we abide with Jesus? To try and stay connected every day. Abiding is similar to waiting. Wait for him to speak to you. Maybe that means reading through the scriptures and you go on until a verse or a phrase or even a word pops out at you. Maybe that means you take out a journal and reflect on your day or yesterday and ask Jesus to give you insight into it. To remain and abide in Jesus means setting aside some time each day that's dedicated to him. Maybe it's only 5 minutes at first. Some people have a difficult time handling silence, but if it's hard to sit for a period of time just in silence, there's many daily meditations and readings that we can do also, spiritual reading. A second way we abide with or remain with Jesus is to simply bring him into whatever we're doing. If you're working out, say, Jesus, be with me while I exercise. If you're stepping into a meeting, say, Jesus, be with me as I step into this meeting. At little times throughout the day, invite Jesus into your day. You hear the church bells, or any church bells. You might say a quick prayer. When you drive by a church, to make the sign of the cross or to say a prayer. Sometimes if you hear a fire truck or an ambulance go by with the sirens on, to say a prayer. That it's those little ways that remind us to include Jesus in our day, in our ordinary days. And when it comes to remaining with Jesus, it simply means to invite him into everything that we're doing. It's both and. We cannot do anything of lasting value apart from Jesus. And with his power, we can accomplish far more than we could ask or ever imagine. However you do it, connecting, developing, and maintaining our personal relationship with Jesus will take us from an ordinary life to an extraordinary life, and to always free us to love one another.